You are now listening to theGrio's Black Podcast Network, Black Culture Amplified.
I was walking down the street today, and there's this dude who's always complaining about how hungry he is, and I saw him, and I was just about to say what's up, and then I saw that he was eating a hamburger. So congratulations, America, we solved hunger, right? Because like that one guy who's hungry is eating, so like this hunger is over, right? No, it's not. Well, I guess I better welcome you to theGrio Daily, the only podcast that'll tell you why Black excellence is a straw man argument. I bet, like, if you watch or listen or talk to people about some of the subjects that we talk about on this podcast, then you've probably heard the argument that I'm about to explain to you about how racism is over because Oprah's rich, or like if America was so racist, how can Barack Obama become president? Or here's one, like, what about Jay-Z and Beyonce? Like, if we oppress everybody, how could they be rich? Or here's my favorite one. You have money and you have everything you need. So why are you complaining about racism? And at the heart of that argument is this idea of Black excellence. Like, if one person overcomes the odds, you know, like the white people like to call them the odds. He overcame the odds. I don't even know what I think the odds is racism. Is racism an odd? I guess so. Like, I didn't ever think about it like that. But I guess white supremacy is like okay, I understand it now. Like, white supremacy is kind of odd when you think about it. Like to identify somebody who like don't season their food and can't clap on beat as supreme, that would be kind of odd to me. So I guess like racism or whiteness is an odd. But you know, when somebody overcomes the odds, or you know, they like to explain that or use that person as an example of how all Black people can achieve if they just, you know, I guess put their nose to the grindstone, is pull themselves up by their bootstraps, use some elbow, because it's always a body part. You know, if they do that hard work, focus on education, then you can achieve to look at blah, blah, blah. But anybody Black who has, again, overcome the odds becomes an example of why racism doesn't exist anymore. And I never understand this argument, right? Like, America used to be at war, and now we're not at war, so apparently war doesn't exist anymore. Or, like, one time, for real, and this is true, right? I saw a bird that can swim. So apparently birds are fish now, right? Or when if a bird can't fly, does it mean all the birds stop flying? Birds don't fly anymore, right? The stupidity of that argument, though, again, is based on the idea that one person who slipped through white people's system of oppression becomes the example of how there is no more oppression, right? Like, if you didn't drown in the pool, then apparently all human beings can float now, right? So to dismantle this argument, first of all, you have to understand, like, white people know like 17 successful Black people, right? And not only do they know very few, but the fact that they can literally name like all of the Black billionaires is proof that there is economic oppression in America, right? Like it's some white man right now somewhere who is richer than the richest Black man in America, and like you don't even know his name. But you know all of the black billionaires' names. It's only like Robert F. Smith, Oprah, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Jay-Z, Rihanna. I'm probably forgetting somebody, P. Diddy, Kanye, I think he was before he started tripping on Adidas. And I think that's about it, right? Like, that's it. There are no, like, black billionaires who just was born to a parent of billionaires or who was born into, like, the Walton family and just inherited their wealth. Every black person had to work and come up with something that had almost never existed before. Be like Jay-Z is, like, you can't even name the top 5 rappers without naming Jay-Z, right? He is literally the best person who ever rapped in the world's most popular music genre, right? And he's like barely a billionaire, right? Oprah is probably the most successful television personality in the history of television. Definitely, probably in talk TV or like non-scripted TV. And she's like basically barely a billionaire. It's like, again, some white person right now who invented like the semicolon sitting on $200 million of $200 billion right now. Like Elon Musk has never invented anything. He never, he's not an engineer. And he's like the richest man in the world, right? And then next to him is Jeff Bezos, who like sells stuff that other people make in a store that really is not a store, or the internet that he didn't create. Like no shade to Amazon or Jeff Bezos, but like he ain't 1,000 times smarter than the smartest black person in the world. He's just 1,000 times richer. He's not 1,000 times more creative. He's not 1,000 times the businessman that like Robert F. Smith is. He's just a lot richer. And Robert F. Smith isn't proof that any black person can make it in a world where there are so few Robert F. Smith. Like the richest, the smartest black man in America right now probably ain't no billionaire. So these people, even though we celebrate black excellence, it is not proof that America ain't still doing all of the stuff that it has always done throughout its history. What it proves is that by using these specific examples over and over again, and because these examples are so few and far between that white people can name them at the drop of a hat, that oppression, racism still exists. Like, just because like 17 black people escaped the claws of this machine that America created doesn't mean that the machine doesn't exist. And that's why we celebrate black excellence, because, man, it is great to see black people achieve something. But that don't mean that we can emulate whatever they did and do the same thing. And see, that's the crazy part about this country, right? Like, to become successful when you're not burdened with navigating race only requires that you not mess up, right? Like you can snort cocaine and you still can achieve. Like, white people use drugs at a higher rate, right? Because the police arrest black people for drugs at 3 times the rate. So using drugs is not an obstacle for whiteness, right? Like getting a great education is not, like, all they got to do is navigate the better schools and a better education system. And once they finish that, they can get into the colleges that look at those schools and that better education system to pluck from it the people who they want to achieve. But we ain't in those schools. So we got to navigate a lower funded school, a school system that they don't even look at. And if we can get to the top of the pile that they have thrown away, then maybe. What all you got to do is just swim along with the current if you're not Black. And that's why those people are not examples for us. Black excellence has as much to do with the supremacy of whiteness as it has to do with the excellence of Blackness. You got to have a little bit of luck. You got to have some excellence. You got to have some smarts and intelligence and hard work. But that ain't all you need. You need some luck if you're Black. You need to not get swept away by the opposing current. You need to tell your friends about this podcast, though. You need to download that theGrio app. You need to subscribe on every platform you can, and you also need to sit down for a couple more seconds and let me tell you our saying of the day. And today's saying is, Black excellence is redundant, because all Black people are excellent. We'll see you next time on theGrio Daily. If you like what you heard, please give us a 5-star review, download the theGrio app, subscribe to the show, and share it with everyone you know. Please email all questions, suggestions, and compliments to podcast@thegrio.com.
I'm political scientist, author, and professor Dr. Christina Greer, and I'm host of the Blackest Questions on theGrio's Black Podcast Network. This person invented ranch dressing around 1950. Who are they?
I have no idea.
This all began as an exclusive Black History trivia party at my home in Harlem with family and friends. And they got so popular, it seemed only right to share the fun with our Grio listeners. Each week, we invite a familiar face on the podcast to play. What was the name of the person who was an enslaved chief cook for George Washington and later ran away to freedom? In 1868, this university was the first in the country to open a medical school that welcomed medical students of all races, genders, and social classes. What university was it?
No, this is why I like doing stuff with you, because I leave educated. I was not taught this in Alabama public schools.
Question number 3, you ready?
Yes. Let me try to redeem myself.
How did we go from Kwanzaa to like these obscure?
We got sport, darling.
This is like the New York Times crossword from a Monday to a Saturday.
Right or wrong? Because all we care about is the journey and having some fun while we do it.
I'm excited and also a little nervous.
Oh, listen, no need to be nervous. And as I tell all of my guests, this is an opportunity for us to educate ourselves because Black history is American history. So we're just gonna have some fun. Listen, some people get 0 out of 5, some people get 5 out of 5. It doesn't matter. We're just gonna be on a little intellectual journey together.
LaToya Cantrell?
That's right, Mayor LaToya Cantrell.
Hercules Posey.
Born in 1754, and he was a member of the Mount Vernon slave community, widely admired for his culinary skills.
I'm going to guess Afropunk.
Close. It's Afro Nation. So last year, according to my research, it's Samuel Wilson, aka Falcon.
Wrong. Wrong. I am disputing this.
I'm very 99.9999 sure that it is Representative John Lewis, who is also from the state of Alabama. That lets you know, Christina, we got some goodness come out of Alabama.
There's something in the water in Alabama, and you are absolutely correct.
The harder they come.
Close.
Oh, wait. The harder they fall?
That's right. I'm one of those people that just changes one word.
I mean, I know the song too well.
I just don't know nothing today.
It's
I'm going to pour myself a little water while you tell me the answer.
The answer is Seneca Village, which began in 1825 with the purchase of land by a trustee of the AME Zion Church.
You know why games like this make me nervous? I don't know if I know enough Black. Do I know enough? How Black am I? Oh, my Lord, we gonna find out in public.
So give us a follow, subscribe, and join us on the Blackest Questions.